Many will all be aware that the public schools are scheduled to resume this week, Wednesday, the 13th of January. In preparation for this, the Department of Public Transportation, DPT, has been working with the Bermuda Minibus Association, the BMA, to arrange transportation for public school students. I believe it would be helpful for the public to note that in 2017, the DPT contracted with private minibus operators to provide service on 11 afternoon school bus routes servicing Cedar Bridge Academy and the Barclay Institute. This was done to supplement the regular bus schedule and ensure a reliable service for students at a rate of $200 per trip. This proved a success as it decreased the demand on the DPT buses for school runs and allowed the service to allocate these buses to other routes. 3 years later, in September of 2020, DPT was faced with capacity restrictions due to COVID-19. In light of the previous success, utilizing the minibus service, the DPT negotiated a contract with the BMA to use minibuses with 22 seats or more to provide 23 morning runs and 23 afternoon runs for a total of 46 one-way trips per day. It should be noted that in the first instance, the BMA requested $250 per trip. The DPT returned with an offer of $125 per trip, which amounted to a total payment of $402,500 for the first school term. Furthermore, the $125 per trip was down from $200 per trip offered from 2017 to June 2020. Included in the offer were the following conditions: adherence to the Ministry of Health's COVID guidelines, an option to renew for the second school term, January to June 2021. Due to demand, the runs were increased from 24 in the morning and 32 in the afternoon. This is a total of 56 runs per day, which was up 25% from the 46. In November, negotiations for continuing the service for the second and third term began. In these negotiations, the BMA advised the government that due to the $125 per trip rate, its members operated at a loss. As such, and going forward, the membership requested $250 per trip, subsequently reduced to $210 per trip. The public will know that as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and government's revenue and spending in support of unprecedented unemployment levels has brought about severe financial challenges for the country. This led the government's inability to accept the request. The BMA was advised that due to the aforementioned challenges facing the country and taking into consideration the needs of the minibus operators to cover their operating costs, and people of Bermuda, particularly those who rely on public transportation, that DPT was able to increase the amount of $125 accepted the first school term to $175 per run. In an effort to encourage a mutually beneficial agreement, I can advise that myself, the DPT director, Roger Todd, and his senior management team met with the BMA to discuss and understand their position. Unfortunately, despite extensive negotiations, the offer was rejected. Unfortunately, the BMA remains steadfast in their demand for $210 per run, which amounts to $60,900 per week, which is money this ministry does not have. As a result of the inability to agree, the DPT will focus on our most precious commodity, our children. And so, when school starts this Wednesday, the DPT will be prioritizing school runs to ensure our children can safely and reliably arrive at school and back home. The government can only offer the BMA what is reasonable to meet their operational needs. Most importantly, without the support and sacrifice of the BMA, the DPT is unable to provide full public schedule bus service and must prioritize its service by ensuring a reliable school bus service so that students can continue receiving their education. We will continue to explore other forms of transportation, for example, community service vehicles, airport limousines, and the like. However, if we are unable to secure alternative transportation, this could result in cancellations and disruption in service. Thank you, and I will open it up to any questions.
Went from 125 to 175. They wanted 210. Are there any other entities other than the mini service that you could have approached?
We are looking at all options. As of right now, under the legislation, the only entities that could provide that service would be the airport limousines and minibuses.
So airport limousines are out, Mr. Todd?
No, they're not out, but they have not been part of the consideration to this point. They are now. I will say also that there are a number of minibuses that operate outside of the Bermuda Minibus Association, and we are in direct talks with them. So we will solicit the support we can from those individual operators who are willing to engage us at the 175. However, it should be noted that the majority of the large minibuses that we rely on for this service are part of the Bermuda Minibus Association.
So you are still at the table, but no time frame on when this could be resolved. Is this set for X amount of time to dip into the main buses?
No, as of right now, the reason why we are bringing this to the public's attention is that there is no definitive end date, meaning we were offering the minibuses $7 per person, which is the exact same amount that they have accepted from the tourists to take them from Dockyard to Horseshoe Bay, which is on average the same duration or length of an average school run. And we felt that that was a fair offer, and that is why we are now going out to any of the airport limousines and or any other minibus operators that feel as though they are willing to take the $7 per person offer.
Any idea, Mr. Todd, how many routes could be affected here?
You'll recall during the fall term, during the fall term, that we had in the order of 25 afternoon cancellations per day on the public bus schedule. It can be expected that that will at least double.
At least 25.
At least double that.
Oh, double, 50 per day.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Afternoon, sir. Thanks for having us. Just piggyback on Mr. Sharp's questions. Starting this Wednesday, we're looking at fairly significant disruptions to the regular bus service for those of us who aren't attending school?
That's correct. That's accurate.
And there's no end date in sight until we can shore up some alternative resources to bring to this.
Correct. And we're actively continuing discussions and working toward a solution. Generally quite late in the day, it seems like there's notice of these cancellations. Given there's still people that rely on the service, is there a way of perhaps notifying people a bit quicker or doing kind of scheduled
cancellations of services rather than just kind of finding out day by day?
I understand the concern there. The limitation is in the scheduling process and our notification process. We are actively working on real-time passenger information project that is going to drastically improve our communications. In the interim, we're going to certainly look at what we can do to improve the existing system, but it certainly has its limitations.
Appreciate it, thanks.
Yeah. And just to add to that, just feel as though the public should be reminded that in the past, the bus schedule was based off of demand. Prior to COVID, it was based on prior to fleet size. With the effects of COVID, it will now be determined based off of our budget availability and allocation.
Do we have any more further questions from the media?
And I have just one short one that I remembered.
Your last comment, Minister, you triggered something there. In a previous interview with you, I think you mentioned that you would like to see the increase in the fleet size of the bus service. Yeah?
Yes, we are looking to not necessarily increase the fleet size, but our first priority is to ensure that we have a fleet age of at least 7 years, which brings us in line with international standards, and will help us with reduce the cancellations. But we are looking to try to initially find replacements for the older buses.
Thank you. Thank you.
And just one last one, it's tangential, but it is something that a couple of people have gotten in touch about. What's the policy in terms of public health guidelines with bus drivers in terms of masks? I know before it really wasn't working for them to be wearing masks in the heat. Are they masking up now, do you know, or do you know where we are with that?
Yes, so the policy in that regard is whenever someone is boarding or lighting the bus, the operator must wear their mask fully. But while operating the bus, the operator may lower their mask to assist with breathing.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, if I have no further questions, thank you all for attending and have a great day.
Thank you.